Hello everyone, so back earlier this year I bought the whole hypercar collection by Grani&Partners, and this was probably the highlight of that collection. I think it's a pretty good model. It's really not missing too much as far as the original price was, whatever. I'm guessing it was less than $10 new, and it's quite amazing that this would have been sold at a convenience store. But there's a new player in town trying to take the throne, so let's take a look here. MiniGT number 266. So the Vision Gran Turismo, it was developed as a concept car for the video game Gran Turismo, probably the best racing video game I've ever played. Although I haven't played video games in a long time, so I'm sure there are more realistic ones out there now. But anyways, it's a cool car, and so I guess it was so popular that Bugatti actually made a real one. And it's sitting here at Pebble Beach, the Pebble Beach Concourse. So I don't know what year that occurred. I don't know why this plastic is so difficult as well. But anyhow, it's a crazy looking car, and let's take a look and see how MiniGT did in making this thing. Standard packaging, I think it's great. It's very minimal, but it still protects the product, and you can actually collect the packaging or store the model without taking up too much space. So that's why I like it. Let's compare it to this photo here. Alright, let me move it around a little bit here. Alright, you can obviously pause the video and decide for yourself if it looks like the photograph. Now, my monitor is not color corrected. Your monitor probably isn't color corrected, so I wouldn't take too much about the actual hue of the blues. They do look darker on these photographs, but again, we don't know if the camera was right or what. Unless you actually see the car in person and hold the model up next to that real car, you'll never really know. Alright, I think that's enough for the photos. Alright, let's take a look here. I guess we'll start with the wheels. A lot of good detail. You can see that, they molded in a lot of lug nut details. I guess the thing has lug nuts. Or, no, these might just be design elements. I have a suspicion it's a center knockoff. I'm not really sure. But anyways, it looks like the photographs to me. And, the silver spokes here, though. I don't know. What's interesting is you'll see there's a little bit of an arrow. You see, I don't think that's right. These arrows, I feel like that's overspray. It's happening here as well, overspray. And then it's on the other side here. You see these are opposing sides. So, yeah, that's just a production quality problem, at least this side of the car. The tires do have this blue Michelin stripe here. It's okay, I guess. This one seems okay. There's a lot of friction. This thing isn't gonna roll. See? So I know Hot Customs has it, and he says his rolls. So it's just 50-50 chance probably. Have to back out here. It's running slicks. I really don't understand MiniGT. Most of the time they don't write anything about the vehicle on the bottom of their cars, but the casting is unique to the actual vehicle. So I just don't know why they would take the time to write MiniGT made in China but not write Bugatti Vision, right? They just expect a kid to just pick this up and know what it is. It's just strange. It's a wasted opportunity to tell people what they made. Alright, well anyways, if any problems arise, you can unscrew it and fix it, or if you want to do a wheel swap, maybe you want to take these wheels off and repaint them. No brake system, ever, from MiniGT that I've seen, but again, for the price, I think it's alright. I think it's pretty much the norm for that price range of models here. Alright, so now we have this blue. We have a sky blue in the middle. Unfortunately, there's a paint contaminant there. And then this whole region here has like a blue carbon fiber texture on it. What I don't know is how they got it on there. Is that printed? It must be printed on. I don't think it's a decal, because if it was a decal, this groove wouldn't be so good. It would probably be like air, you know, a decal wouldn't get inside there. Yeah, so, and also, yeah, I'm pretty sure this must be tampo printed, at least up here. I might be mistaken, but that's the impression I get. Here as well, you'll see there's a black surface here, and then the carbon texture is here. So if it's a decal, it might be trying to cover that, but it looks like it's actually a tampo print because a tiny bit of the print is running over onto this surface here. So I suspect that they're tampos, which is great for longevity. You know, they shouldn't crack like a decal would in the future. And I don't think I've ever seen a decal on a MiniGT anyways. They just don't believe in them, which is great. You do have the rubbery mirror, the little rear view camera thing, and it actually does look somewhat like the real one. It looks a lot like the real one, I think. Okay, so that's great. Then you have some silver details here. I'm gonna guess they hold the clamshell together here to the front. Some sort of latches. And then it does have a red door handle, so that's accurate. And it does have molded, you know, depth behind it, as if you're gonna grab it with your fingers there. The EB logo here is alright. It is in the right location. It does actually sit flat up here and then go concave here, so that's actually good placement. We have the 3 French colors there. Alright, well, it's pretty nice. I mean, in here, look how far that thing goes in. That is a really deep surface back there. So I'm going to guess that black surface is part of the base, or maybe probably part of the interior plastic piece. But it's nice because it actually goes pretty far in there. The front, you can literally see the air passing here behind the tire, so that's really good. Alright, the stance seems okay. I think my rear axle might be a little bit warped, or the tire, I don't know. Okay, boy, there's just so much to look at on this thing. Some sponsorship printing there, looks good. Then we have these front canards here. I think they're plastic pieces. Yeah, there's a slot right there, and it's sliding into that slot, which is good, because if they were cast metal, chances are they would be really thick. So, although these do look a little bit thick, they would be worse, I think, if they were cast metal. So I think plastic was the right choice there. You have I think the Michelin Man there, and some more blue carbon printing. This printing here goes across the whole chin lip, and it's on the top surface of the canard here. A little bit more contaminant there, but nothing drastic. So the headlights, yeah, those look like plastic pieces. I don't know if it's one piece. Yeah, I'm sure it must be. But you can see that they're raised bumps, and you can hear the raised bumps. But there seems to be silver paint behind on the back surface, so they look great. All right. So the Bugatti logo. Let's see if well, it's a little bit legible. I see Gotti. There's a little red missing, a little silver missing. The 16 seems okay. And then there's a grill texture in here. These are just molded flat. Okay. So that seems okay. No problems there. There seems to be... There's a very faint texture in here. I'm gonna guess that's supposed to be like a radiator there, and so they have some rib detail there. And then you have this blue printing again. I wouldn't doubt that this is probably a separate piece of plastic with the printing on it, because it looks like there's a break right here and here. So that's how they got such a tight fit going on. Alright. Then these vents above the wheels are real. I'll pull out the flashlight just to really accentuate it. So that's pretty awesome. Those are real vents above the tires. Very cool. Alright. There's a central raised wiper blade. It's alright. It's a little bit low. This arm could have been a lot taller, but no, it's okay. Emergency cutoff printing there. The Bugatti's printing there. The window blackout looks alright. The dashboard has a texture up here. And interesting swoopiness there. Well, let's see what we can see through the front windshield here, because I don't think we're going to see much of the interior through the side. There's the seat. It's off to the right side, and there is no left seat at all. That could be accurate to the real car. I don't know for sure. Alright, let's see about this side. I don't see any quality major problems. Let's see, this sort of just bottoms out here. Okay. Interesting. There's some black in there. I'm just trying to decipher how this model was made. I'll have to make a comment at the end. Alright, so I'm gonna guess these are the fuel fillers there. It's got the EB logo in the center, and then some dimples as if they were, you know, bolted on. So that looks really good, I think. Now the rear vents over the tires, again, I'm gonna guess they're real. Let me get the flashlight again. Yeah, you can already see light in there. Alright, so that's pretty awesome. Okay, so now look at this engine. We have the EB printed twice. I don't know what's under it. Oh, I think it says W16. So yeah, that's good. Yeah, this blue engine cover here, I'm gonna guess it's stationary. It doesn't come out like the Granny one. We have the emergency hatch there. The wing looks pretty good. Well, nope, I take that back. Because look, one or the other is a bit off, right? I don't know if the strut below or the strut on top is... Oh, well there. Simple. Nice. Alright, so it does look like there's glue residue there, but I may have just broken it. Alright, so this wing here... Just look at the gap here. Is this... That must be a join right there. Alright. So let's see, the exhaust tips. Well, unfortunately they're not quite level, meaning that I think they're two separate pieces. One piece of plastic with these two exhausts. This is the other piece. Because if they were the same piece of plastic, they would be level, right? I think there's an EB logo there. Yeah, it's just so in shadow that it's hard to see. There, that's a better light angle there. So there's some textures in here. Sounds like it's plastic. I don't feel texture in there. That's just kind of smooth. And then I'm gonna guess this vent actually goes through it and touches the tire. Yeah, I think that's the tire back there. So that's pretty good. Alright, I don't really see much to complain about. That would be my nitpick, really. Just one of the exhausts is crooked. But everything else looks pretty good to me. You guys have to remember, when you have this many parts, this many textures, it just opens up such a magnitude of potential problems, you know? All these paint apps could have been problematic. The fit of all these parts could have been problematic. So, I think in the grand total of things, I think this is a pretty sweet model, considering the retail price of it. Maybe later I'll take it apart and actually see if I can remove that. You know what? Let's just do it. Let's see what we can do here. Let's at least open it and see if we can, what happens on the back side of this thing. Alright, so the construction of this, look at this. So the sky blue is all the die-cast metal, but then this dark blue seems to be a piece of plastic. this, you know, this whole top wheel well section is plastic. This is a piece of the whole rear end is plastic. And then, you know, the grill here is black plastic. There's the canards there. Yeah, unfortunately the exhausts are on the back side of this plastic piece. But I think I'm going to have to just live with it, because I feel like in order to remove that to get the exhaust, I have to remove a lot of other stuff. And so when I try to put it back together, that'll probably just introduce more problems than I'm trying to solve. So I'm going to leave the exhaust alone. The engine covers looks alright. And there's the racing seat with the giant helmet bolster. And there's the Knight Rider steering wheel. And a totally blank dashboard, which is fine again. I don't know if the original concept car actually ran, you know, what they showed at Pebble Beach. And then let's see here. Is this base plastic? I think it's plastic. And it's not cool to the touch. And it does feel pretty light. I might be mistaken, but I wouldn't doubt that this base is plastic. It's a hard call. I don't know. You'll have to take yours apart and decide for yourself. Alright. So let's put this thing back together. Hopefully it'll be okay. Alright, that does seem to be okay. I think it's time for the tray of comparison to arrive. And let's take a look at this and the Grani&Partners. I think I gotta reset the angle here. Alright, thankfully they fit the tray. Okay, so the one closest to us is the MiniGT. And the easy way to remember is the MiniGT has silver fuel fillers. Grani&Partners does not. So just keep an eye out for those silver dots, and you'll know which model is which. Let's start with the, well, I guess we're already at the top view. So the blues are definitely different, right? The outer blue here is just a flat, dark navy blue, whereas MiniGT actually has the carbon fiber printing. What's odd is the photograph of the real car, I can't see any carbon fiber. It just looks like a dark blue. But I'm gonna guess if you actually were standing next to the real car, you could see a carbon texture. Okay. You'll see the tightness of this little strake here on this wing is a lot tighter than on here. I would say these are generally the same as far as the thickness goes, but the MiniGT has the silver piece extending all the way back. Grani&Partners just stops. It just stops and floats right here. Looking at the real photograph, MiniGT I think is the more realistic one. Naturally, real vents over the wheel wells are far more realistic than these blanked off vents on this Grani. These are probably real vents too. I didn't pay attention to it when it was open. But yeah, the Grani just has all blanked off vents. But to Grani's credit, it still has the emergency hatch, and all the other shapes are generally there. These little quick release fasteners are a little more detailed here than here. The engine cover is definitely more detailed on the MiniGT. This does have the EB logo, but this has a carbon texture and then the EB logo on top of it. So there's also black here. This is all silver. There's just more paint process going on the MiniGT. Going to the windshield here, they're both pretty good. I don't really know which is more realistic without seeing the car in person. They both have the central wiper blade. They both have these camera mirrors. Although I think MiniGT is more realistic because they're sticking out further. And I do like the fact that they're rubbery. These are just, I think, too close to the car. So they don't look as realistic. Alright, you'll see that this has the texture here, you know, for whatever radiator is supposed to be down there. This one's just smooth. There's two little dimples, but it's generally smooth. And then you'll see, you know, this is black here and then the blue carbon texture. This is just all the same dark blue. So more work again is going on here. Going to the front view. proportionally, I'm not sure which is more correct. But I do know that this just looks crisper, the Bugatti logo. And the 16 on the Mini GT is actually raised and then painted silver. Whereas I think on this, it's actually just a tampo print on the grille texture, the 16. Alright, so the canards here on this one, they simply don't stick out as far because the canards are part of the metal casting. You can clearly see how far these stick out because they're separate plastic pieces. So Mini GT made their wise decision, you know, having separate pieces. Yeah, so the brake duct, the slat, this is just kind of like an open rectangle, and I guess that's supposed to be the brake duct, but it's totally flat. You can see the casting line here, how it came out of the mold, the extra flash. So Mini GT totally made it a different way, so you don't have that issue. Okay. Yeah, you got the carbon printing on the chin spoiler. Here's just black because it's part of the base pan. Alright, let's go to the back. So the Granny exhaust tips, they are flat. And they are also angled. So it could have been done, actually. I don't know if you can see, but... Alright, I'm gonna have to try to put these back on the tray and get a flashlight now. If only I had 4 hands. If I had 4 hands, this would be a lot easier. You see how, well, I can see at least, those 4 pipes are actually, you know, angled. They're coming in at a V. But they actually are all flat because I think they were molded as one piece. But here, obviously, I've dwelled on that enough. So, now the Mini GT does have more definition to the tubes. You know, you can clearly see that they're rounder and they have a deeper recess where the exhaust gas would be coming out. Texture wise, in the vents here, this is a big crosshatch grille pattern, which it's not this big on the real car. So the finer texture here I think is more realistic. You really can't even see a texture at all in the photograph. So I think this is better. The taillight here, I think both of them are just silver and red painted, but I feel that Mini GT is better. It just looks like a silver line with an equal thickness red line going through it. But you'll see on the Granny, something went wrong, right? The left side is 2 red lines, so that's messed up. Okay, the diffuser, well, I guess those are pretty much equal. Possible the Granny's better, actually, the vanes. Now the rear wing, yes. I don't know. See, I don't know what's going on here. You know, why are there 2 horizontal strakes there? And this one looks like it's joined to the vertical more than this one, or maybe it's an illusion. But this is clearly, you know, joined better. It's a tough call. It's possible that the wing on this might be better. They're both equally thin. This one is more vertical. This one actually is angled. So I don't know what's more realistic there either. Alright. Yeah, these are much deeper, more defined. These are faint, not as deep. So, yeah. Wheel-wise, yeah, Mini GT definitely wins. The real car has a black rim, and then the rectangular spokes are crossing over that black edge, which is going on here. Whereas clearly this is just all silver, right? There's no black at all. And then this has the blue Michelin stripe. This is nothing at all. So wheels definitely go to Mini GT. They both have that sponsorship there. The side vents on the Granny don't go remotely as deep. You know, you can see the wall right there in front of the wheel, the rear wheel, but there you can't even see it because it goes so far in. Alright, door handle. You know, Mini GT has the red. There's nothing on the Granny. Well, what is interesting though is the Granny has the sliding side windows, and that is on the real car. MiniGT chose to skip it, which is weird because it wouldn't cost any extra money to have that detail molded into plastic, but they skipped it. Okay. Yeah, it's just a little more printing on the top of the wing here. It's not here. Okay, well, I think I've held it enough. Well, let me hold it this way for you guys. If you want to pause and really compare. I think they have identical wheelbases, so I'm pretty sure both of them are 1/64 scale. Okay. Alright, well, let's put them up in the spin machine here. And I'm going to put out the Grani&Partners Chiron, because I think that's actually a really attractive Bugatti. And I'm hoping MiniGT will come around to doing that. I'm hoping they come around to doing every Bugatti. I am okay, you know, with MiniGT taking over the space in my display cabinet for all the Bugattis. These Grani&Partners are fine for the original price, but on today's aftermarket eBay prices, they're just not good enough. I mean, look at this paint rash on this guy. It's not attractive. I mean, it was sold at a convenience store, you know, for not much money, so I can understand the quality wasn't ever intended to last more than a year or two. But I kind of feel like MiniGT wants to stick around, so I feel like they're putting more effort into thinking about long-term collectors. Okay, let's go to the top view. Alright guys, well I figured since I have the brakes I'm going to put them on here. So just a tutorial. This one has the fluted axles, so it's pretty easy. It was on here, and all I did was to get it off is I just held the tire and I moved it back and forth a few degrees and started pulling it off, and it came off within like 10 seconds. So now my 3D printed brakes here, they're a little bit tight, so I have this you know, one of these jewelry hobby type files, and I'm just going to ream it a little bit. Yeah, like 2 twists. It's probably only like 1/2 millimeter off. There, it's friction fit now. I use some tweezers or whatnot, push that down. Now I can just push this back on. And I find that's easier to push on if you actually wiggle it back and forth, just like how you take it off. Alright. And screw this back together. So the real car has you know, what looks like silvery cross-drilled rotors and then black calipers. So these calipers are a little bit like a dark metallic color. So unfortunately they seem to be pretty far in there, or my light angle isn't very good. But let's see if I get the flashlight. There we go. Yeah, it works. Obviously they spin with the wheels, but it's better than nothing. So, alright. Let's put this up on the spin thing. That's what's making all that noise. These solar spinners sound like they're running on rocks. Well guys, this is a no-brainer. There's no reason to waste money on the Grani&Partners one. If you already have the Grani&Partners one, it's a great model, but it's just not coming close to what MiniGT has done here. It's simply better in almost every conceivable way. So yeah, I highly recommend this one. I'm pretty sure they'll come out with other colorways, but you know, this is the real original colorway from Pebble Beach and the video game, I believe. So I'm going to keep this one for sure for a while. Alright guys, well, thanks for watching. I'll see you the next time I get a MiniGT.